back to my channel Kuluru Vineeth. So today we'll continue that arrays playlist, and today's question is finding single number in array. So how does this question look like? Okay, so assuming our input is input array, that is let's take an example of 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 2 4 and 5 and 5. Okay, so here in this we should be able to find the unique number in that array, that is 4. Fine. So this is the question we are given. So now coming to the intuition and approach that we could think of is the simple and naive approach that we could come up with is compare every element with every other element. That is, have a 2 loops and check all other paths possible, so that if they are duplicate or not. Okay, so let me write down that approach. That is approach 1. Take 2 loops and compare every pair. Okay, so let me name that as approach 1. Here the input will be again int array, and return type would be just a single integer, that is the return type is integer. Fine. So now let's make 2 loops so that we can compare every element with other element in array. Okay, for I in nums dot indices, and one more inner loop for j in I plus 1 until nums dot size. Okay, so now what we do is we check if that nums of I is equal to nums of j. That means we'll come to know that these are duplicates. So if these are duplicates, let's take one new array. Let's name this as unique element, and let's copy that above input array into this, and see now if they are becoming equal. What we do is I will just try to remove that the specific element. Okay, that is nums of I, and also I will remove the nums of j, and at the end what I do is I just return the unique element of 0th index. That is, once we remove all duplicate elements, what will be left out with is unique number. So this is the simple approach that we could come up with. So here, since we are using 2 loops, so coming down to the space time and space complexity, we can say that time would be order of n square, because we are making 2 loops. So let me write down that time complexity, that is order of n square. And coming to space, I would say it is order of n, because I am creating a new array to store that initial array elements, and then keep on removing if we find a duplicate, and at the end return the unique element left in that array. So for that we would be needing the order of n space, which is the size of the input array. Fine, right? So this was the approach 1. Okay, now could we somehow improve time complexity comparative to approach 1 and see if we can do it? Okay, see, then to improve that, what we could come up with is try to use the hash map and see if we can remove that 2 loops and see if the time complexity can be reduced to order of n. Okay, so let me write that approach. 2 is using hash map to keep count of elements. Okay, so let's name this as approach 2, and here again input will be integers array and return type would be this. Now let me create the one hash map. Okay, and this is second, and integer or input type will store two key and value type as integers. So let me initialize this. I think it's not this way. I have this is we're trying to create a okay, fine. So I have tried to create I have initialized an empty hash map. Now we will start the iterating the input array. Okay, for num in nums, what I will do is hash map of num will be hash map dot get or default num, and default value let's keep. So here nothing but we are just keeping track of the count of the element present in input array of, and if it is not found we'll just take that initial default value is 0 and then add one that to element. If it's already there we'll take that number and then add one to that. Okay, so this now what we do, now we have stored the element and its count in the hash map. Again now iterating the hash map for num in hash map. Okay, if num dot so if hash map of num equals to 1, then what I do is, one second, just a second, so sorry, it's not hash map, it should be the input array, and now we compare that. If that is coming to be unique element, then we can say that that is the unique element we have found, right? So this is a simple again approach. What we are doing initially is we are first creating the hash map and then storing the element and its count available in the input array, and at the end we are again traversing the input array and see if the count of element is 1. If it is, we found that, then we return that as the unique element present in that. Okay, or else we can return -1 if not found. Fine. So okay, coming down to the time and space complexity, it is order of n since we are traversing the array once, and also space would be order of n since we are using hash map to store the element and its count in the input array given. Okay, fine, done. We are done with this approach too, and try to improve the time complexity from 2 loops to the 1 loop. Okay, fine. Now coming to space, could we optimize that space with other approach? Well, we can do that using XOR operator on input array. For example, let's say that if we apply XOR operation on all the elements, and at the end what will be left is the unique element. It is nothing but since because 1 1 it results to 0, that means if the elements are same then the result of that would be 0. That's the reason if we perform XOR on all elements, what will be left out with is the unique element. Okay, fine. So let me write down that approach 3 using XOR operator. Okay, and name this as, just a second, and name this as approach 3. Fine, and input array will be same and return type will be same. Here let's take unique as, let's take one variable as unique and initialize it to 0, and now let me traverse the input array and perform the XOR on each element, that is this unique XOR num, and at the end the unique variable will have our required answer. Okay, so this is the simple third approach, most optimized, just order of n since we are traversing array once, and space complexity is just order of 1 since we are using one temporary variable to store our required answer. Fine. So let me write that as well. Order of n and the space is order of 1. Fine. So yeah, these are the three approaches for this question. Fine, we have written down that. So let's take one example and compare the output of each approach and see if the all approaches are correct or not. Let me take one integer array of, let me take down the above example which I started with. So here I am, take that and use here. Fine. And also initialize the object of the above function I have created, that is finding single number, and then write three println statements to compare output of each approach. Single number using approach 1 and use string interpolation, and then call respective functions. Okay, and let me take this and do similar for approach 2 and approach 3. Fine. So here it is approach 2 and rename this again to approach 2, and this is approach 3 and this is approach 3. Okay, now let's execute and compare the output of the each approaches. Yeah, so as we can see, the expected output is 4, and looking at the output of approach 1, approach 2 and approach 3 is 4. Fine. So this is the this is it for this video. Thank you so much for your love and support. Keep watching this channel and there will be a lot more exciting content coming up. Thank you so much for your support.